it's Sarah with Obadiah's, and today I am going to do a first burn video for you guys in the Guliver Cookstove by Guca. Now the Guliver is an import cookstove from Serbia, and when I do my first burn videos, I show you guys how to light your first initial fire and how to break in the stove slowly. So if you guys have seen my other first burn videos, you are familiar with this process. Throughout this process, I will give you guys temperatures as well, so you know how quickly to expect the stove to heat up, and especially if you're taking it from a cold stove to going into baking as well. So right now we're gonna start nice and slow with the kindling fire, head into our medium fire, and then into our hot fire. I will give you guys some temperature readings along the way, as well as some times of how long the stove burns with the throttle wide open. Okay, I'm going to start our first burn in here. I'm gonna grab my nice dry kindling that I have. During our first burn process, we only start with this small amount of kindling in the stove because it's super important to break in the stove slowly so that the initial paint on the stove has an opportunity to cure properly. It also ensures that you don't take the stove from one extreme temperature to the other and cause any cracks or premature breaks and welds or anything of that kind of sort. Make sure that your damper controls are going to be wide open. The oven control should be pulled out when starting the fire as well, and you want to make sure that your bottom damper control is open as well. The Guliver has two locations for the air wash coming into the stove. There's the air wash damper control located at the top of the glass, and then there are air wash holes located at the bottom as well. So I expect that this Guliver should burn nice and clean. Okay, I have my torch here. Again, always just nice dry kindling, no paper, no fire starters, nothing of the sort. One thing I have been seeing this year is some customers who are lighting their stoves and maybe they're getting a lot of initial smoke at startup. There's a few reasons that it could be smoking. Potentially your damper controls are not done properly. If your kindling is wet or green, not fully seasoned, then that could cause it to smoke. Another reason as well could be that you're not getting enough outside combustion air. So if it's cold outside and the house is really tightly sealed and it's tightly insulated, then that negative pressure effect can cause the unit to smoke a lot at light up as well. So if you are having that problem, you check your damper controls, you check, make sure your chimney is installed properly, etc. Then that can be another thing to look into, is try opening up the window. When you open up the window to start the stove, do you notice that the smoke just drops right up the chimney? So these are just kind of things to keep in mind, little tips and tricks when lighting your fire. So the stove took off nice and quick. I'm gonna go ahead and close it up. During my first burn process, I will give you guys some temperature readings about 20 minutes into this.
I have just lit up the stove, and this is my kindling fire. It took off really nice, very minimal smoke, and is burning so clean. That's that nice air wash on there.
Okay, I am literally just about 10 minutes into this initial burn. Already, if you can see this kind of smoke coming off, this is the paint curing. It stinks. If you are sensitive, burn this outside, burn it in the garage, burn it and then leave your house with the windows open so that you're not smelling this, okay? Keep that in mind. I am 10 minutes in. I'm gonna give you guys some temperature readings. Center cook plate is already at 430 degrees, just 10 minutes into this. Rear of the cook plate is at about 200 degrees. Directly over the oven, we've got a temperature of 159 in the center cook plate above the oven. Rear by the flue collar is at 136. Top side panel is at 60 degrees. Bottom panel's at 55. Our front glass is reading 333 degrees. We're at 74 degrees on the oven side of the stove at the top panel, 54 degrees at the bottom. These are our first low burn temperature readings at about a 10 to 15 minute time period. All right, my small kindling fire has about completely burned out. You can see a small flame in there. I've just got a small bed of coals going on. I'm going to head into my medium burn. I'm going to do that with these two. You know, based on the size of the stove, I'm just gonna do 2 small logs to break this in. Again, this is the first burn process here, so I don't want to get it too hot too quickly. I'm gonna do, I say 2 small logs. I'm actually gonna throw in another one of these kind of smaller kindling pieces, just because the angle of the firebox, my wood is honestly cut a little too long. Like if this was my primary stove I was gonna be burning, I'd probably go a little bit shorter. I'm able to make it work because of the angle on the firebox. I can get kind of like some extra fuel in here, but ideally, if you had a smaller cook stove like this, you probably want to cut your log more like a 16-inch length. And a lot of mine is running more like probably 17 to 18. And yeah, but right now I've got 2 little logs, one kind of piece of kindling about this size, and I'm gonna let this take off into my medium burn. After I'm into my medium burn, about maybe 20 to 30 minutes, I will give you guys some more temperature readings.
You can see my firebox into my medium burn is taking off really nice.
I am about probably 30 minutes into my medium burn, 20 minutes, probably about an hour into my overall burn on the Guliver, and I'm gonna give you guys some temperature readings. Center cook plate is at 479 degrees. Rear plate is at 366 degrees. The other flue outlet is at 322 degrees. Center is 333. Center plate over the oven is sitting at 270. Back rear near the flue collar is at 240 degrees. Top side panel is at 140. Bottom panel is at 73. Top side panel on the firebox side of the stove is at 146, and at 72 degrees at the bottom. Our firebox glass is now reading 362 degrees. My oven is not activated, however, I will just give you guys some temperature readings anyhow. 210 degrees on the right hand side, 192 degrees on the left hand side. We're at 166 at the oven top, and we're at 200 degrees on the oven bottom. So after about an hour of running the stove, from the small, burning it all the way down into the medium, the baking oven is only at 200 degrees. Again, the oven is not activated because we are doing our first burn. Okay, so my medium burn is pretty much completely burned down. Here's a few points that I really like about how the Guliver burns. Number 1, right now you can see that my log is overhanging past the grate and my glass is still burning perfectly clean. A lot of other cook stoves, like if you exceed a certain line, then the air wash doesn't work so great and sometimes the glass will get dirty. So I think that this stove burns really nicely because of that. So I'm completely burned down for my medium burn. I would say right now I'm probably about 3.5 hours into this before going into my hot burn. So it seems like the Guliver burns a little bit slower than other comparable models, like maybe the MBS. I just burned this last night, and this definitely burned hotter and quicker and didn't shut down as much. And even right now I'm burning the Guliver wide open and it's getting pretty good burn times. So I'm excited when I damper this down to see what kind of burn times I'm gonna get, but I would expect probably the Guliver to get a little bit longer burn times than either the Magnum or the Nordica line. So we'll see. Right now I'm going to reload into my hot fire. And my final curing process for the stove with this model, it's gonna look like 3 logs and some kindling. Again, we're just curing right now. I still got space off the end of this log. This is burning pretty good. About 3 logs. I'm gonna let this burn on hot for about 15 minutes into my hot burn. And then I'll give you guys some temperature readings. You can see once you close it, it takes off nicely. You can hear the fire crackling. I'll update you with those hot burns. And then we'll go from there as we cure the stove. Again, right now as I'm headed into my hot burn, I'm about 3.5, possibly 4 hours into this. So by the time my hot burn burns down on high, I'm gonna say I'm probably gonna be 8 hours into this. It's really interesting how some stoves will go quicker, faster than others, and that kind of really helps me gauge the airflow and air control on each of the different cook stove models that we sell.
Here we have the stove burning hot. Look at how clean. Even still, you guys saw when I loaded this that some of it was kind of closer to the glass, and this might be some of the cleanest glass on these kind of cast iron stoves. The Magnum was a little dirtier, I would say, when I was finished. You can even see on the one next to it, there's kind of a residue left on the glass. You can see it to the left hand of the shot, and this Guliver is burning clean.
I am in my hot burn. I'm about 20 minutes, 30 minutes into my hot burn, which makes me about 4.5 hours into this overall burn. And I'm gonna give you guys some stove readings. Right, like I said, it off gases in here. I just closed the door because it is freezing outside and already I can feel the smoke building up. So again, remember, first burn it outside. Center cook plate is at 808 degrees in the center. This flue outlet over the oven is at 650. The back plate is at 831 degrees over the firebox. Back plate over the oven is at 676. Center plate over the oven is at 688. Top panel is at 380. Bottom of the panel is at 102. Firebox side panel top is at 184. The bottom is at 87 degrees. So these are going to be our hot burn temperature readings.
I just want to show you guys what's left after burning the Guliver. This is after one burn. I would say this is a 1/4 inch thick, maybe, of fly ash. It's good to have up to 2 inches of ash left in the firebox to act as an insulating factor. And this is just gonna be burning wood with no kind of paper or anything in there. You can see the glass burned clean.
I hope that these videos are helpful for you guys. If you do enjoy my videos, please don't forget, give me a thumbs up. Click that subscribe button in the corner of the channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have a wonderful day.